Good morning. Today we'll be talking about the current energies and how the body holds the key to all the answers you seek. And on top of that, we'll talk about how to manage those. And we will end with some meditation here in nature. I've got the two doggies with me. I don't know if you can see them. I've got Rufus and Ava both with me. So we will end with some meditation here in nature, and hopefully you'll join me on today's journey. So I wanted to just I want to focus just on the view here. I want to find out how you all are doing right now with the energies. You know, the planets are stirring up a lot of muck, the past, and sometimes our human mind might want to look at it as, you know, why is this happening? Why am I living this again? Why is this happening again? Why can't I break free? Why? Instead of taking a pause, and there's a nice dragonfly, I don't know if you can see him. Instead of taking a nice pause and wondering, okay, what is this showing me? As I've mentioned on many of my previous past videos, that a lot of the old stuff is arising, and it's not for our detriment. But the divine feminine continues to rise, and it's shifting the energies here on the planet. And the more we shift, the more we grow, the more many of the old paradigms want to resist that, which is what we're kind of seeing right now as we speak. And to kind of give you an example, I'm not sure how many of you know my past, but I'm just going to state it briefly here, just to kind of give you an example where I come from. But I came from a history of abuse, and I was diagnosed with complex PTSD. And in searching for my own healing, it took me a while. The healthcare system was broken. But what I'm trying to see is more or less not what had happened, but how do we manage and navigate these triggers or these energies, okay? And whenever these energies come up, yes, it does trigger my PTSD, and it shows me what areas, one, that I have grown from, that I have healed, that I have moved past, and then it also shows me what areas I still need to work on, all right? So last week I was triggered heavily, last Thursday. I don't know how many of you were triggered last Thursday. That was August 2nd. So I was triggered very heavily to the point where my PTSD hadn't been triggered like that in, probably 7 or 8 years. And so what did I do? Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, not talk about what the triggers were, but how do we move past it. And before I go into that, I want to just remind you that we have all this technology. I mean, we're all here, right? We're all here. So we're on technology. Technology is designed what? To make us more connected with the world, right? But in reality, what's happening, because we are energetic beings, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, we have actually become more disconnected with ourselves, more disconnected with our environment, more disconnected with the planet. And we wonder why we have certain things that are happening, and it's not even in our awareness, okay? So how do we get more connected? Well, the one thing that my trauma has taught me is how to get reconnected, okay? How many of you can relate to that? So one of the things I'm going to share with you is why the wisdoms of the body actually holds the key to all the answers you seek. Why? Because one, when we can stop and we can listen to what it says, it holds the key. It gives us clues. It gives us messages. It tells us exactly what we need. When it also shows us that when we become aware, we actually become more aware when we listen to the wisdom of the body, of our own self-sabotaging, our own self-deprecating type thoughts, and then we are able to replace them with more self-loving, self-compassionate, and how to nurture the little child, the little boy, the little girl that's within inside of all of us, okay? I read something this morning about somebody says, to love, is unconditional and how difficult it is to love. But the thing is, you can't love or be compassionate to anybody until you begin to become compassionate and self-loving to yourself. And I'm not talking about, hey, let's go get a manicure, let's get a pedicure, let's get our hair done and our eyebrows waxed. That's superficial. I'm talking about getting real, getting raw with yourself, and really looking at the stuff of what the soul needs for you to grow, for you to become whole, okay? So one of the things that I do to help me do that is I really have eliminated a lot of unhealthy foods. I don't eat dairy, at least for the most part, and wheat and yeast, and I've really cut down on 90% of my sugar. So I want to say, when you remove the inflammatory foods in your health, then the mind becomes a lot clearer, and then you can really tackle the other stuff that's happening, okay? Good morning. I'm having a hard time seeing it because of the sun, so I do see some people commenting. I just want you to know that I'm having a hard time seeing it because of the sun glare. So how are you? So how many of you know somebody or yourself have experienced maybe mysterious illnesses, or maybe you you go to the doctor, or it seems like you're constantly going to doctors and you still don't get the answers, or if you do get the answers, it seems like to be a runaround, okay? Well, let me explain to you, and this is something that I've gone through myself personally. Why is the healthcare system broken? From my philosophy, it's broken because it treats symptoms and it treats parts, body parts, okay, like an assembly line. And it treats it as, okay, if you have an earache, then there's a certain protocol and a certain procedure or a certain medication that we need to use for that particular condition. And here's the problem. We are made up of 3 bodies, not 1. We are made up of 3. We are made up of the physical body, the mental, emotional body, and the spiritual body. So, and I've always talked about, many of you have heard me talk about, that if we can heal trauma, we can heal anything. And one of the things that was interesting when I was talking to one of the state reps last week at the State House, I mentioned to them about trauma being an epidemic in this country. And I was actually shocked, to be honest with you, how he said, yes, I know it's an epidemic and we have a huge problem with trauma in this country. And I said, but the healthcare system is broken to address and heal trauma because there isn't a pill and there isn't a procedure to fix and heal trauma. And I said, in the very modalities that you want to legislate, regulate, are the ones that saved my life and can help heal other people with trauma. Why? Because it focuses on all 3 bodies. So when we're physically ill, for instance, let's just say asthma. Well, the root cause to your asthma, the healthcare system will say, okay, well, it's your lungs, okay, it's your bronchial tubes, and we're going to treat that. But maybe the root cause to your asthma might be a broken relationship, or maybe it is grief or the loss of a parent. It can be any one of those things, okay? So what I've learned, and just like what I said to my state reps, I'm going to kind of turn the camera back so you get to see the beauty of the landscape while I'm talking. So one of the things I said to the state reps is, when we can address each part of these bodies, then we can heal the whole. So when I talk about my 13-year journey of healing from abuse, and we healed trauma, I told them that it's because of these modalities and the things that I do that I avoided a hysterectomy. I avoided a root canal. I had 3 urinary tract infections, and I treated all 3 without antibiotics, and I healed those areas. If more people knew about healing the whole, I think we become more whole as a society, especially if we're talking about the more violent aspects of our society. So by doing that, I also explained that we reduce the healthcare costs. We reduce, by doing this, we reduce maybe, the cures to like the opiate epidemic and, the trauma links, and that we can use these to tap into the wisdom of the body and to heal all three of those bodies. It also helps us to reduce the medical waste. It also reduces the secondary issues that may be a result of the treatment. Like for instance, if you have antibiotics. The last time I took an antibiotic, it took me 6 months to clear the junk out of my intestines. When you do the kind of work that I do, and you clear the fog of the mind and body and it begins to heal, you actually become more sensitive to notice these things, when right now, if you're so loaded with toxicity, you might not even know that you're adding more poisons into your own body. Become more aware. So, trauma manifests in ways that we least expect. So we're talking about these energies right now. It's really stirring it up. How many of you are really kind of feeling it? How many of you are really kind of feeling it? All right? So when we choose to stop this madness, I like to call it madness, when we stop this madness and decide to take our power back, and it starts with beginning to listen and build a relationship with ourself. Okay? Again, technology has made us more disconnected with ourselves, and we wonder why we have the problems that we have. And I am loaded with dragonflies all over here. I'm not sure if you're seeing them on the video. We also gain the answers that we seek when we do that, especially to those questions that maybe the medical system can't answer for you. So I just want to say to you before we move on to some meditation, and I'm hoping the doggies will cooperate with me on this one. The answers you seek lie within. So let's surrender to the wisdom of the body. Are you ready to connect with me now? Let's go into some nature and, see where we go and kind of open our minds. So I'm going to hopefully see if I can do this without disrupting. So what I'd like you to do is kind of make sure your feet are flat if you're sitting or if you're laying down. And I want we're going to talk about tandem breathing. And for those who may not be aware of tandem breathing, the tandem is about 1 inch or 2 below the belly button. And I want you to focus your breath there. Okay? Focus your breath there. And hold on. So take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. And what I would like you to do, since my whole goal today is to also help raise the vibration, is I want you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And I want you to just be aware. Be aware of the sensations. Be aware of the feelings that arise out of your feet. Be aware of the energy and the circulation that moves within the body. Just be aware, using the breath to move it, breathing in, breathing out. You can kind of see the water here. I know Rufus was supposed to kind of go in, as he always does. Come here. I'll take this out. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Just taking it in. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in love for yourself and for others. Breathing out fear, distrust, anger, and just feel it. And I'm going to just remain silent for a couple minutes just so you can focus on the breathing. Taking in the surroundings of this area. Or even watching Rufus going into the water because he's a little ham. A lot we can learn from our animal friends. Enjoying life's simple pleasures, like just getting wet. And the salt water is also a great detoxifier. So it's good to just stick your feet in and just take it all in. Breathing in, breathing out. Feel the areas of resistance that you might feel in your body. Locate those areas. And when you do, exhale them out. See it as black smoke. And with the power of the breath, exhale them out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I want you to just take it in for a moment. Breathing in, breathing out. And we're going to move into some tree energy now. One of my favorite trees in this area. Keep listening to the body. Keep focusing. Oops. Hold on 1 second. Come here, come here. Keep listening to the body as we begin to move into some tree energy to ground. I love the elements of the water to cleanse, to purify. I don't know if you can hear the sounds of the crickets. Take that in. Sounds of the birds, flowers. Take in all this medicine. Planet is loaded with lots of beautiful things. This is one of my favorite trees here that is deeply rooted, deeply connected. And it's kind of represents our life in many ways. You know, the roots are tightly wrapped around this tree. Just like sometimes we tightly wrap our energy around ourselves for protection. And it's riddled with scars and wounds, as you can see. But if you notice, the wounds heal. They always heal. And as you can see, this tree is thriving and it even has new growth. See, our mind always wants to show us the worst for some reason. But we can learn a lot from nature. And I don't know if you can hear that magical bird singing. How beautiful. But here we are with this tree. All the layers, all the branches crisscrossing, just like the energetic cords within our self, within our own vibration. Everything crisscrosses within ourselves. But yet the tree is strong. It's healthy. Looking at it from the surface and from afar, you would never know how difficult of a journey this tree may have gone through. But yet when we go up close, it is magical. And it tells a story, much like our life. And yes, we are gracious to have the choir of a bird right behind us. We can learn so much from that. Take that in. Listen to what it says. The messages for each of us is different. Breathing it in, breathing it out. Bird medicine is very powerful. So I'm going to leave you for today. Take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Don't forget to nourish your soul. Take a moment, even if you only have 5 minutes. Take a notice. And I thank you for journeying with me this morning, and with Ava, and with Rufus. Enjoy the day. Take another deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Move your hands, move your feet. Take another deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Have a great day.